Hi everybody, I'm Pastor John from New Life Assembly, and starting the book of Song of Solomon in our daily devotion series. And so I want to go ahead and just read the text to start out. And I've given you an introduction, so if you missed that, you want to go back one video and check that out so that you're familiar with the background. But I want to dive right into this. So let's get started by reading Song of Solomon, chapter 1. We're going to go from verses 1 through 7. And the book starts out this way. The Song of Songs, which is Solomon's. The woman now speaks in verse 2. She says, "Let him kiss me with the kisses of his mouth, for your love is better than wine. Your anointing oils are fragrant. Your name is oil poured out. Therefore virgins love you. Draw me after you. Let us run. The king has brought me into his chambers." The others who are in the royal courts now speak, and they say, "We will exalt and rejoice in you. We will extol your love more than wine. Rightly do they love you." And then the woman speaks again. She says, "I am very dark, but lovely, O daughters of Jerusalem, like the tents of Kedar, like the curtains of Solomon. Do not gaze at me because I am dark, because the sun has looked upon me. My mother's sons were angry with me. They made me keeper of the vineyards, but my own vineyard I have not kept. Tell me, you whom my soul loves, where you pasture your flock, where you make it lie down at noon. For why should I be like one who veils herself beside the flocks of your companions?" As we look at this first section, you'll notice that the prominent writer, the prominent speaker, is the woman. Most of the Song of Solomon will come from her perspective. Although Solomon will speak himself, the man will speak himself, and the others will have the most minor role in the book. We start out by looking at verse 1. It says, "The Song of Songs, which is Solomon's." Now, in Hebrew, you can't really tell if that's attributing the authorship of the book to Solomon himself, whether it is a song about Solomon, or whether it is a song that was given to Solomon by somebody else. It's my opinion, as I read through, and Solomon is mentioned later in the book, that he both wrote it, and it is about one of his own relationships with the Shulamite woman. And so in verse 2 and following, the woman speaks first, and the image here is of them in the royal court, King Solomon perhaps on the throne, and this Shulamite woman comes in and is beginning to speak with him. I'm understanding them to have already begun their personal relationship, and so she starts out. The reason why I believe it's in the royal courts is because it starts out in verse 2. "Let him kiss me." She's talking to Solomon, and she addresses him in a sort of a very formal third person. By verse 7, she's saying, "Tell me where you put your flocks." And so she moves from the formal to the informal, from the "you're the king" to "you're also someone I'm in love with." And so she treats him with respect in the beginning, and then grows close to him throughout the discussion here, throughout her talking. She tells of her desire. She is in love with Solomon, and she gives 3 reasons why she's in love with him. The first one is, "For your love is better than wine." He shows affection for her. He cares for her. One of the best things you can do in your marriage is to show affection, even if the person's not used to that. Everybody wants that. Some people in their cultures are not used to it or haven't grown up with it. And so when you show your affection, you show that you actually love somebody, you actually care about them, and you're not just dwelling under the same roof with someone else. So it's important to show affection. Now, you can be overly affectionate, and your partner can say, "Hey, that's too much." But you need to show some affection throughout your marriage. It's very important. Several times I hear one of the couples, usually the woman, saying, "Oh, he doesn't love me. He never tells me." So it's important because the woman here does it, and later on Solomon will return the favor. It's important to let your spouse know that you love him, that you're crazy about him. The second thing that she says is, "Your anointing oils are fragrant." Now, when we think about anointing oils, we think about the anointing of prophets and priests and kings. That's a special anointing and a specific anointing for God's service. The anointing that's being talked about here is basically the wearing of perfume, or in this case, cologne by Solomon. And the idea is that he keeps himself up. When you're in a relationship with somebody, you start to get comfortable with them. You start to, not take care of your hygiene and all that stuff. It's very important and it's very helpful in your relationship to keep yourself up for your spouse. It's not like you've won them over and all of a sudden you don't have to worry about a thing. Just like whenever you're trying to woo them, you need to daily be doing that. Daily be looking to look your best. So obviously she loves him because he loves her. She loves him because of his physical appearance. He keeps himself up for her. Keeps himself looking good and healthy. And then the final one is, your name is oil poured out. Therefore virgins love you. And this is the key in a Christian relationship that is romantic. The person that you are seeking, the person that you want to have a relationship with, the driving force, yes, they should be physically attractive. And yes, they should tell you that they love you. But the most important, I believe, is their character. And that is what the Shulamite woman is most passionate about with Solomon, is that his character is the highest standard of character that she can find. When you are looking for someone to share your life with, or when you're sharing your life with someone, it is most important that they have the highest character. This is a biblical principle, and I believe it's very important for marriage and for relationships. The things that turn you on, yes, physical things will turn you on, but if your marriage rests on the beauty and the handsomeness of your spouse, when they grow old and that fades, what's left? But if your marriage is based on the character and the things that in their personality that just make you continue to fall in love with them, then guess what? When you're old and maybe you guys don't look the best, you grow old together, and the thing is, you've still got that character. It's still there. It's something below the surface that doesn't fade with time or change with time. It's always there. Character is most important in knowing and looking for somebody that you want to spend your life with. She continues on. Draw me after you. Let us run. The king has brought me into his chambers. Now, this is during they're not married yet. They don't get married until about chapters 4 or 5. So I would not tell you that they're headed into his bedchambers. What she's doing is she's asking him, can we get alone? We're standing in the royal court, and I just want to be alone with you. I think it's very important for couples to develop not just a public persona, if you will, not just a public ability to be together in the public eye, but also to be able to have a private life away from others. I think it's a very biblical thing. And we live in a day and age where the bedroom of a couple has been opened up to us by the cameras on TV and in movies, and nothing is intimate, nothing is sacred anymore. There is no moment of privacy, and you can't have true security and intimacy in that kind of a setting. So it's important here, I believe, that they're trying to establish boundaries and say, look, this is our time together. We'll be out with our friends, we'll be out among the people in the community, but this is our time to be alone. And I think you need to develop that just as much as you need to develop your public relationships as well. I think you need both whenever you're a married couple. Continuing on, the people now speak. They say, we will exalt and rejoice in you. We will extol your love more than wine. Rightly do they love you. And so here you have the friends, the people in the royal court, maybe people that are friends of both of these individuals that care about them deeply and are telling them, hey, you guys are great together. And I'll tell you this as a pastor, it's very important that especially your family and many of your close friends, people who care about you, people who love you, they should be able to at least tell you what they think of the person that you're after. I'm not saying that they're always going to be right, but those who have your best intentions in mind, they have your very best in their thoughts, they should be okay with somebody that you're dating, somebody that you're interested in. Because if not, what happens is you have no one else to tell you what's really going on. And you can easily be blinded by emotion and blinded by relational desires and things like that. And if you're in that point where you're blinded by those things, you can't see the things that other people can see. Other people can be wrong, but I think it's helpful to at least have people who are, saying, hey, you guys look good together. This looks like it could work, kind of thing. Now, it's not that you have to listen to them or that their ideas are primary, but it is helpful to see their perspective as well. In verses 5 through 7, once again the woman is speaking. She talks about being dark, but lovely, and she explains why. See, she's not like dark because she's of a different race. She's dark because she's been out in the sun. Solomon and Shulam are from two different worlds. Solomon is from the palace world, the political grandeur. He doesn't work, with hard labor. He is a king. He's got more of an office job. But the Shulamite woman, she works in the fields. In one true sense, you've got the king of Israel and then one of the peasant girls. And so this is a highly unlikely situation, a highly unlikely relationship that's developed, but it has. And she says, look, I'm only dark because I've been out in the sun. And she's very self-conscious about it. But she still considers herself beautiful. And I think that's most important, that women have a good confidence about themselves. And I think it's most important, as we'll see in the next devotional, that their husbands remind them of how beautiful they are and how much they see them as the most beautiful woman on the planet. And so she goes on to ask him, tell me, you whom my soul loves, where you pasture your flock. You see, she's still trying to get away. She wants to go to a place that's more convenient for her. She's met him in the royal palace. She wants him to meet her in the field. And so whenever he goes out with his flocks, his sheep, and his goats and everything else, she wants to come and find him and spend some personal time out in the fields where she's more comfortable. And I think that a married couple, it's most important that you're able to bridge the gap and be comfortable in your spouse's favorite places. But you're also needing to be able to go to a slightly less comfortable place that they enjoy more. And so I think there should be a little bit of give and take there. A final note on this before we finish out our first devotional is that she asked her, why should I be like one who veils herself beside the flocks of your companions? In Israel, they would have all kinds of different flocks in the same pasture. And unfortunately, the prostitutes would wear veils because they didn't want people to know who they were. And they would go out among the men in the midday and do what prostitutes do. So she doesn't want to appear that way. She wants to appear modest and proper. So she wants to know exactly where Solomon is. So she's not looking like a prostitute searching for money, for her services. And so she asks him exactly where he is so that she can find him whenever he goes out to the fields. As far as Christ and the church, there's a mutual love and respect between Christ and his church. Christ loves his church. He gives himself up for her. And the church respects Christ as its head and loves him for what he has done for her. So this is the first of our devotionals. We're going to have plenty more in the book. And I hope you enjoy the Song of Solomon as we go through it. Have a blessed day.